Everybody is going to get old. Everybody, not one is going to get younger. Every day that passes is an older person. You know, when you're young, of course, you spruce up, and you never ever think that one day the strength you have, you know, and got it anymore, you feel like this now and finish. But I want to tell you the truth. Eventually, the whole body starts to give up.
Over 1,000 Belizeans turn 60 each year, marking a steady increase in the population of older persons. In addition, our life expectancy has increased, and now Belizeans can expect to live to the age of 74, with many of us living well beyond this age.
The National Council on Aging was established in 2003, following the government's adaptation of the National Policy of Older Persons in 2002. What the national policy is government's response to the recognition that the Belizean population is aging and protection for that aging population. The policy outlines key areas of concern to be considered, including financial security, other social protections, home security, the rights of older persons as well. So it covers a broad areas of concern for the population in general as they're aging. The council is run by a board of directors, which is made up of both civil society and a few government ministries.
Older people are everywhere and make up an under-recognized resource in our country. As we age, we discover that life does not get easier.
I got a stroke. That's when life changes. Completely changed, because before I was a person very active.
One thing that affects a lot of people when they do not accept what they are in. Right? And acceptance is one of the most important things. That's a healer. Accepting what is wrong with you. One thing we do not do, right? Cry over what we do not have. I just take it as it is, one day at a time. Because I used to treat my customers excellent, and they do turn it back to me. Not every day, but now and again, you know, because of the way I treated them.
Life brings to each of us unexpected changes that reshape our entire way of living. For an older person, the concern of growing older is often intrinsic, that he or she is losing the ability to care for themselves. However, these concerns become more complex when an older person is once again placed in the role of caregiver for those younger than themselves.
I enjoyed 12 years of my retirement. Losing Michelle was very difficult. And she passed very suddenly. So I personally was not prepared to go through an event like this. She was 34 years old with 3 children. But I am happy that, you know, that I am still strong, that I could take care of my grandchildren. Astrid is 10, Alina is 7, and Miguel is 5. I had to change my lifestyle. So now that this happened, you know, I have to get up earlier. I have to prepare breakfast for them. I have to, you know, comb hair, you know, see that they bathe, see that I have to do every single thing for them, you know. It's very hard. Life is very difficult sometimes, especially when you come with the finances and so. But having them is a blessing, you know. In my old age, I still have children running around in the house, because if I didn't have them, this house would be quiet. nobody would have been in here. But I thank God, that I have them, and I just hope that God gives me the opportunity to see them grow. It's just a continuous movement, but it is still, to me, I'm used to it now. But at the beginning, I used to cry because I didn't know what to do.
El señor es don Vicente hoy, de 93 años. El poco tiempo que los conozco, que he venido a hacerles un visit y estoy viéndolos constante. Estoy viendo en ellos que, pues en él, que él sufre del próstata. Es una enfermedad ya más avanzado para los de edad. Entonces es algo que a él le da mucha dificultad y como se le quitaron las fuerzas de su pie, él no puede caminar. Él tiene que alguien llevarlo al baño, traerlo del baño. Y hay días que él no se puede mover, él está incapacitado para levantarse. La señora, ella lo atiende, ella lo cuida, ella es la que cuando vengo a visitar es la que habla por él, porque como él no escucha. Entonces ella me dice lo que él necesita y las cosas. Ella es la que lava ropa y a mano también, porque no usan lavadora, a mano. ¿Sí? Esa la batea ahí atrás. Ella se levanta temprano, va a lavar, va a cocinar, tienen su fogón ahí adentro, hacen sus tortillas de maíz, como las costumbres antiguas, así, siempre lo llevan. Y aparte ella atiende al Señor. Pues ella, lo único que ella siempre me dice, él necesita ir con doctor y no hay cómo llevar. No tienen forma de llevarlo con médico constante cuando él se siente mal.
Mercy Clinic is a specific clinic tailored towards the geriatric population, and we're an NHI funded clinic, and we only see patients 60 and older. That makes us a little bit different from almost any other clinic in the region. And when I say, even not only Belize, but other Caribbean and Central American countries, that we're only one of a handful dedicated geriatric clinics. Currently, I believe we have over 1,200 registered. At least 400 to 500 come in on a monthly basis. They get the primary care service, and everything they get is for free. We remove the element of finances, so that way there's never an issue whether they have to decide, do I buy my medication or do I have to buy food? So that aspect we are very particular about, to make sure that our patients never have to worry about their health care. We primarily do primary health care, which is we do the regular monthly checkups, we do the labs, we do chronic diseases. We also start to look at the long-term care of items like Alzheimer's, dementia, home care, and nutrition. Those are the things that also play a big role in their health. What we're starting to notice with our elderly population is that there are certain things that as a society on a whole we have to start looking at. The basic things like nutrition. I mean, somebody that's elderly who doesn't have proper dentation, they either don't have dentures or no teeth at all, they cannot be sustained on a regular diet. We have to tailor the diet towards their needs. Then we have those that are immobile, but because again finance is an issue, they end up being locked up in the house for pretty much the rest of their life. How do we get to them? Then we have to start looking at neglect. People think that neglect can only happen if it's a child. There's also a thing called elderly abuse and neglect, and that simply states, is the person getting enough water? Does the person have proper access to a bathroom? It's something as simple as that no matter how much medication we give or what we're here for, if we can't address that simple issue, that turns into a bigger problem. And that is the trend that we're starting to address now. How do we go beyond the care of just the health aspect? How do we treat them for more than just their high blood pressure and diabetes? The mental aspect, the mental health of it also plays a very big role. As we start to go outside and we start realizing that, like I said, it's just not the hypertension, it's just not the diabetes. There's a lot of social issues that are starting to fall on our lap. And we're trying to address as much as we can, but of course it comes down to limited resources. So having dedicated personnel and resources for the elderly would be a start.
I feel like my belly begins to swell, right? And I tell Miss Nora, I said, Carl, I said, look, my belly is swelling. He said, no man, that belly is swell, man. So then when you were at home on Saturday, he said, they ain't couple beer where you drink, at all that catch your belly so. So, well, I never take it any. I thought maybe it was true, no? But I feel it discomfortable. And then my foot began to swell. So the guys at the workplace told me, said, maybe it's the boots that they are using make your foot swell, right? So I stopped using our boots and I began to use a shoe, and it still swell. But it was getting worse and worse and worse. And so I decided I think it was sometime in November of 2008, I decided to go to the doctor. And the doctor in PG looked at my belly and he said, man, and this is one thing I'm very, very much disappointed about. He said, I think you need to go to Belize to see what is wrong with that belly, why it swells so much. I said, well, yeah. He said, and I could give you a paper that you could go through the NHI, He said, and you wouldn't have to pay us too much money. I said, well, that would be good. And when I went and see the doctor, and I thought that, not that I would get everything free, but I thought that would have got some discount, no? But then the doctor told me, he said, no, he said, NHI is only for people who are living on the south side of Belize City. So everything I had to pay for, and I could recall the smallest I paid for test was $300. Anyway, we got America. They all kind of test, bam, bam, bam. Okay. They end up that the lung is bad, the colon, the large intestine is bad. They say have a twist, part of it is lazy. The heart is, the right hand side of the heart is beating too fast, and things like that. Anyway, they give me some medicine, I pay a lot of money, and we come back home.
Last year around this time, about around the same time, when he went into the hospital, and after that, he got so sick. He came home and then we had to take him back 2 days afterwards. He didn't want to go back. We had to call Dr. Garcia, and Dr. Garcia came here and he examined him, and he said, Tim, you are my friend, and if you don't admit yourself into that hospital, you are going to die. Plain as that. And they called the ambulance, and the ambulance came and they took him to the hospital. And he was in there for about a week, and he kept getting worse and worse, until finally they said, well, they called us the night at home. We were at home, and they said it looked like this would be his last. Well, this is one person that actually died and came back. The doctors were really good at PG Hospital. They were young doctors, but they really tried. The doctors told us that he's improving, and they wanted to send him to Belize to do some checking. They wanted to check if he had cancer. So when we came back, well, we spent a lot of money, but they told us it would cost us a lot. So the plane alone cost us almost $4,000. And the medicine and the stay in the hospital there, because it was $500 a day. And the medicine we spent about $10,000 to $12,000. Since he came home and gradually he got better, he was helpless. I think he weighed only about 90 pounds. He was skin and bones. And afterwards he started moving around in the wheelchair, and he started walking little by little with the help of the therapist from Hillside Clinic.
And now he's up to his old tricks again.
Yes, he's up to his old tricks again. He wants to go and work. I wish he would help me with the housework, but he don't like housework.
There are two major areas of concern for older persons in Belize, and within those two major areas of concern, all the other ones fall into place. Of course, there's financial security, which is one of our big issues. Because we're such a young country, there wasn't a social scheme in place, a social protection scheme in place, in order for our population as it ages to have adequate pensions and services as they age. So we find that we have an entire generation of older persons coming up that have no social protection. The second area that we have of great concern is that of health care. Now, because our population is aging at such a rate, there is an increase in older patients and we lack specialized services to deal with older persons. For example, key areas of health for older people that isn't considered for the general populations are things like falls prevention, looking at Alzheimer's care. A lot of times older persons find themselves in a situation that they have to care for themselves with limited financial resources, limited access to financial resources, and also problems with their health. We have high rates of diabetes, hypertension as chronic illnesses. And when we talk about chronic illnesses, we're talking about diseases that will carry on with them for their life course. It's not like having the flu, you take the medication for a few weeks and you're better. A diabetic won't necessarily get better. They can manage their diabetes, but there will be complications that will come along and it will be costly towards the end of life.
I saw for the people in Dangriga, and not only Dangriga, from the rural areas and all these things. Right? So we stick to the trade. Sometimes tea, sometimes coffee, sometimes none at all. Right, I sit down behind that machine for hours, 16 hours, 15 hours, just like that every day, you know. It was a struggle. So you couldn't contribute to Social Security because there was no provision for self-employed, right, as an individual.
But we pay income tax.
Right, so when,
that's the advantage.
Right, so when they do start with self-employment, self-employed people, I have already been aged. They say, no, you cannot get involved anymore.
Try to, but they say.
Yeah, I went to the meeting.
Healthcare may be the most pressing of concerns for older people, but it is often compounded by home care. The family structure has changed drastically, and only a small percentage of older persons in Belize live in a facility. Older Belizeans may be living on their own, with family or with friends. As age progresses and health declines, many seniors face the very real fear of no longer being able to care for themselves and of having no one to care for them.
When you get old, you are abandoned. That kind of respect that we had before for our elderly is done. You walk the streets, and if a young man come around, he'll trap you. Instead of giving you a pass, he trap you. No respect. They don't remember that one of these days, they will be in the same position.
In Belize, most people think that they care about their older people. Most people will tell you that I am concerned about my grandmother, my grandfather, or my aging mother. But most people will not put into place the things that are necessary to ensure that they are independent and have or maintain the same quality of life they have enjoyed over their life course. Simply because a lot of times we don't understand what is needed for a person to age well. Many times we think that, they need to be in a rocking chair rocking, or they just need a plate of food, or they just need, if I can pay all her bills, then it's fine. But if the older person in your life never gets the opportunity after a certain age to remain engaged in their community, then that is not a good quality of life. If all your grandmother, your mother does is sit on the veranda in a rocking chair, if your father no longer has the ability to go out and socialize, then he or she is not aging well. They are aging in a community that has excluded them. I think that's one of the major misconceptions that we face in Belize.
Yo trabajaba siempre. Mi marido iba al trabajo, al chicle, quedaba con una hijita. Ayudaba en plancheo y lavado. Es que me quiere ayudar, porque el tiempo era muy pobre. Ahorita he cambiado por mis hijos que ahora están grandes. Ellos están viendo para mí, así es que ha cambiado. Yo tengo que trabajar, me ayudan, me ponen quien me ayude en mi enfermedad, así es que aquí estoy.
Not all cases of older people end up in abandonment. There are the stories of older persons cared for by family and even friends. In reality, most older people depend on some form of charity from their community to survive.
She was neighbor to my grandparent, Miss Josephine Marchand. And since I knew that she grew with my family, I appreciated she took care of my grandmother, and I felt her so special to be my friend. As the years went by, she went to stay with my sister because she used to do a little bit of housekeeping. But she used to come over and visit me, and I used to try to convince her, I said, Miss Bridget, why not come over here with me? You know, having that appreciation for her, I said, the only thing I could do, I promised myself that I would take care of her until her last. Although we don't know if I might go before, but that is my intention. So I spoke to her and she says, no man. But slowly, you know, we petted her up. She come over and I said, you don't have to go home to them and stay right here. And we had an extra room, and from then on, she's with us. It's going almost to 15 years. She's 90 years now.
I fell down there and they had to hustle me to Belize. But then I got better and come back. I'm living on my own. Just friends come in and help. What about my health?
Your health?
Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm alone here, and, you know, and then sometimes I get some pain in the stomach. I said, well, I wish somebody would be here with me. And before I had this lady, I used to have plenty of trouble because when the small children come and they heal and they go, and sometimes I want a drink of water and I can't get up from here because my knees are afraid to fall again.
The seniors that we have here at Octavia Youth Center, really need a lot of care and a lot of love. Most of them, unfortunately, dementia or Alzheimer's. Diabetes is another big issue. So when the home was built, it was meant to be a nursing home. But it's becoming now like a hospital now. It's more like a hospital. Well, now we have a doctor that comes every other week. We have, let's say, 2 nurses. So it's more like a hospital. So the need is there for I would say, more assistance. When I came like 10 years ago, we had people that could do a lot of stuff on their own, taking care of the farm, they could do the personal hygiene for themselves, but now we have to do all of that for them. So it has become very challenging. Octavia Youth has been so fortunate that we have a room that we call a physiotherapy room. We have a nurse that does this therapy for all of our seniors here. And as I said before, these seniors age range from 60 to 105. Therapy is done five times a week. I want to tell you that we do need a physio or a physiotherapist. But make it be for us, make it stay here. And for the community, of course, no? But we need to train people in physio. We need one physio that will be here. We need the nurses to be here with us, you know. You get volunteers, but the disadvantage with volunteers that they go away. So when we train our own people, you know that we have them here. But when you get volunteers, the nurse or physio, one 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they're off. So it will not really benefit much. Then just start you up and you can continue. So we do believe training our own people, physios, And again, geriatric nurses, we are short of those nurses. So again, training how to handle people with Alzheimer's. If we don't do these things now, in our 5 or 10 years, we have a huge problem in our community. The community really helps a lot. And I think this home is where it is because of the people that contribute, that see the need, see the need for help, to help our seniors. So if it would be because of the community, we have a good board too,
My niece brought me here because I have no other family, I could say, because all my family is gone. My mother, father, husband, son, even my sisters. I am the only one left. I have been here 8 years. For me, I feel okay. For the first month or two, it was very hard because I was not acquainted to the place. I didn't know the people, strange people, everybody, even the room. I couldn't fall asleep. Yeah, because I get used to the room where I sleep, and then I get acquainted. Right now, if I go to my niece, I cannot stay to sleep over there.
Since I've been at Octavia some 15 years now, I find it quite comfortable, quiet and relaxing. Now for the first year, I was a little bit lonely, missed Belize, and I missed my friends and my business too. But after about 8-9 months, I became adjusted. So I'm right at home right now.
The question of care also brings the question of finance. In Belize, we lack a system that provides adequate social protection throughout the life course. During a research conducted for the feasibility of a universal pension in Belize, the data indicated that 61% of Belizeans over the age of 60 do not receive a pension from Social Security, and approximately 7% of the population of older people receive a pension from the public service. This indicates that more than 50% of our population, 60 years and over, receives no regular income from a pension scheme. How does this translate into everyday living? This simply means that older people on a large scale continue to work to meet their basic needs after the age of retirement, essentially never retiring or reaching a state of financial security.
From the church. The church was giving me a stipend of $100 a month. But there are days, there are months that are nothing called money. Right now, I cannot pay this land right now. A bit of pressure came down. Because
we have water bill, light bill, gas bill.
I know you have half the money that you had before to deal with that.
No.
So thanks the light bill comes in time, the gas done.
Water bill coming? It sure is difficult.
You don't have it.
It's rough. But in as much as it is rough, we say it is rough, but there's a bit of lightness in it. You know why the lightness is? Because you have that joy within. And that is what keeps us strong. The joy and the love we have within, and that is our, what do you call it, the antidote for this. On a nutshell, it boils down to something like this, that with us, we are not depending on the children. Though we get help from them, but we are not dependent on them, we are not depending on them. Because we know that they too have their own responsibilities. There's a bit of concern because, like I tell you about these bills that I have to pay, and if I had the money, then I would have, been active in paying my bills. But right now, This house was, when I built this house, it was $15 a year. Then you got $35 a year, another $118 a year for this now, and $118. When I see that, well, like I get rich if I say $118. Rich when I see $118. I can't see that to pay to pay this $118 right now. So you see the bit of it brings a bit of depression, you know, on the mind of someone who are going to deal with any kind of situations. So it sure did bring a lot of a slight depression, because I would want to be free. When you owe, you're not free at all.
There's also the idea that older persons are well off financially, and that as well, the stories that we've captured have shown that that isn't true. What is true is that older persons find a way to make do with what they have in a very real way. Some of them survive off of $100 a month, and after that they depend upon the kindness of church groups, organizations like HelpAge that will do a Meals on Wheels or Hope. And the rest of it, they just decide that my life is not going to change in any way, so I am going to make the best of what I have, which is oftentimes not very much.
My mother has been industrious. I know myself. So all what I do now is a result of her, teaching us. She taught me to embroidery. She encouraged me to join Red Cross from the age of 8, Junior Red Cross. She also encouraged me to join 4-H, where I started to do gardening, planting, doing handicraft. And she has been my inspiration up to this last minute of my breath, because her cooking has been one of the most significant things to me. Okay. Because being a mother, I'm being proud to be who I am, and which involves my heritage.
My husband passed away 2001, and I was getting a little stipend, like how he was an ex-service man. But it never lasts long, just about 3 years, and they have to make assessment. And when they came to check, a person from Belize came, and he took pictures of the house, of the place, of my kitchen and everything, and the report went that Orange Walk people don't need.
So you're no longer getting the benefit?
I don't get nothing. The only thing that they offered was that if you are sick, you send your receipts where you get your treatment and like that, and they refund it back. But to me, it's better if I get a monthly money, because I could buy all my other little things, because I need ointments, I need Vicks, I need alcohol, and like how I always have pain, so I need those things.
We definitely need to look at providing stronger social networks for older persons, for our population in general, and that includes social security measures, stronger pension schemes, saving schemes that are accessible to our entire population from early on. You want to look at our population starting to plan for their aging in their 20s. Start putting up money, start saving, start being able to access some kind of scheme that will ensure that when you reach 55, 65, there is something in place that you are able to retire or meet the challenges that are going to come on as you are unable to work. There's also the need for specialized health attention. We have no geriatric trained physicians or geriatric nurses, so there is a gap that exists there as well.
I've seen people who, when they knock on their doors and say it's time to retire, the first thing is trying to look for another job. There's like a kind of panic. No, I don't think it's necessary. But let me tell you why. I was very fortunate. When I retired, I was very fortunate to find this program. Going back to where I work, you know, when you work with the public sector, the financial part is small. Everybody knows that. Small salary and small pension. But there is a latitude, there is an opportunity to look around. You earn, but you put up something. Do like this quarter, you put up something for tomorrow. And that's something, that little something every month, at the end of 20 years of service, you're okay. Prepare yourself from, you know, we work 25, 30 years. You start to prepare yourself maybe 10 years after, before the retirement. And you don't need to have to go look for another job.
Retirement should be an age of opportunity, a time to embrace life and enjoy the fruits of your labor. In 2010, the National Council on Aging, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, piloted a Dancing for Health program for seniors in Belmopan and Corozal called Senior Steps. The pilot project came to an end in December of 2010, but the clubs continue to meet weekly. The program has filled a vacuum that once existed in the community, as older persons now find themselves taking an active role in improving their health and also maximizing opportunities to let their presence be known.
I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy the happiness that we share. I enjoy the concern that everyone has for one another. I enjoy just feeling good when you come to this group. You forget all the little troubles and things that you have at home to do and all the mess that you have to, you know, maybe go home and do. And you just come here and just be what you want to be and just be and feel good. I like that.
We are old people. When we say old people, we don't mean we are feeble. We are not feeble. We are just getting a little bit slower. And there's many places that we like to go, but we can't make it because we cannot climb the stairs. So we like to see a lot of changes in Belize.
One of the things that I am very involved in is getting the preferential seating on the buses for the elderly. Started out with the Russell bus line, and they have the seating. And I was on a Shaw bus the other day, and I noticed now that they have it. And I would like to see all of the buses have seating arrangements for the elderly, or people who are disabled, or pregnant women even, you know, people with small infants that are standing, that they need to be able to sit down. And also in the banks and the credit unions to have ramps, have signage for a senior line so that you don't have to stand all the time. And it's coming. It's slow, but it's coming.
We want where we could walk on the street any hours of the night without fear.
I used to be able to walk the streets after midnight, and I was never afraid. And now, as soon as it's dark, I grab a cab, and I only use the cab drivers that I know.
Sweet Belize, the
Sweet
land of the free.
What does it mean to grow older in Belize? For some, it is a struggle. For others, it is a new era in life, to reinvent oneself and embrace change. Each older person in this country has a unique story written by their life's choices. Each of us are writing our own story as we age.